Guess where I am? You'll never guess. Yes, I am in Mexico, but where exactly? I don't have anything really specific to really talk about in this live, but maybe something regarding my last video that I uploaded, which was from the hut. And I have more videos to upload from there, but I haven't finished editing yet. Again, editing is the thing that slows me way down. So I am making videos in Mexico for a second channel. So yeah, it's kind of paradise. It is a beautiful place here. I've been here before and I love it. And the second channel is, I don't have it created yet, so I can't direct you there, but I will post it within 2 weeks, I think. And it's going to be different. There's a lot of experience that I have with traveling, and I want to share some of that. So it's going to be a bit of a different format than what you're used to with my primitive stuff. Hola a Chile! Real quick regarding, this is going to be a very short video. But real quick, I wanted to address a couple things that I saw in the comments of my last video, which was regarding the dried fruit candy that I made. And so just really quick, I know a lot of people commented about the nasty flies and the wasps eating it and potentially contaminating it. And I just want to say that that is not an issue. I know that in our modern life, way of living and way of thinking, we tend to consider a lot of organisms to be gross, dangerous, deadly, evil, bad, whatever. But that has not been my experience personally. So I just ask you to have a bit of an open mind and consider some facts, such as the tremendous health of a lot of people that still live in a kind of a rather primitive way. That alone is should be enough to make us question our modern ways and modern medicine. Just something to think about. So I'm gonna get to a few questions that you guys post right now. How you wipe butt. There are many ways you can wipe your butt. Real quick, I'm not going to get into the nasty details, but there's soft barks, there are large soft leaves, and when all else fails, you have your hand, okay? Or you just don't wipe at all. The reality is, if you're living in the wilderness, you're eating a natural diet, you're not going to be producing the massive kind of bowel movements that we do today with the overindulgence of food and the extremely high fiber content of much of the food that we eat. Particularly if you're eating mostly animal-based diet that's low in fiber, you're not going to have much of a problem with a need to wipe. Hi, Houston! Drag your butt across the sand. More fishing? Not right now. How often do I live in the house I built? Right now, not that much. I've got to work on some other projects right now, and so sadly, I'm not there as much as I want. I hope to be able to get things under control and be able to spend a lot more time there in the near future. We'll see. You were trolling? Okay. I'm trying to get this. This is all going very fast, and the sun is kind of bright. It makes it hard to read these. Go to sleep. 3 a.m. That's late. Watch out for the cartel. Well, I'm not involved in the drug trade, so there's no reason for the cartel to come after me. Can't tell you what state the house is in. Sorry. Здравствуйте. Как дела? Из Мексики. Мексики? Primitive fishing, please. Yeah, we will get some more of that. The problem with where my hut is the fact that the weather is really cold there now. The fish are going into hiding, and I won't see them again until the spring. What do I want to build in the future? I want to build more huts. I want to try building some huts with different materials, and I would like to try in some different landscapes as well. We'll see if I can make that possible. But one of the big issues is getting to places and being able to have the financial resources to set aside the time to do it. Did I ever show the hut to my family? A couple of people from my family and a couple of friends have been to the hut. Will I ever build better tools? Yeah, little by little. You know, you have to have the right materials to make good tools. So there isn't a lot of really good stone where I am, and so that makes it challenging. So, you know, often if I were to make a lot of the stone tools that I could make there would be, I'd have to remake them often. So often you see me just picking up a rock, quickly shaping it. I mean, it works. I mean, you only need what you need. You don't have to create this, you know, absolutely gorgeous looking tool with a bone handle or wood handle and beautiful carvings and stuff. I mean, that's all great and stuff. That takes a lot of time. The reality is my time there is very valuable, and when I'm spending a lot making videos, then there's not much time left for just gathering. Like I don't have enough time to gather all the food that I could otherwise gather and things like that. So, you know, the main priority in survival is getting food and water and a shelter. That's the main thing. And so anything that helps that is good, is a plus. It's beneficial. Love from Italy, love from Mexico. Do you fear other predators? Well, it depends where I am. I mean, where my hut is, I have not encountered any predators that I fear. So if I were to go to Africa or something, and where there's lions and gorillas, then yeah, I'm gonna fear some predators. And you have to take action to prevent yourself from becoming prey. Chad is Uber? I can hardly read this because my hair is getting in the way. A hut by the what? A hut by the sea or ocean. Oh, that's a really challenging one. You know why? Because most of the coastal land is privately owned, or it's prohibited that you do anything on it. It's very challenging. There might be some places in certain countries, but that's a big risk. Either you got to have millions of dollars to buy the land, or take the chance of breaking government public laws. I could take on a gorilla? No. No way. It's raining in Escondido now. I have family that lives in Escondido. It's actually where I grew up. Yeah, it's warm here. Beautiful. The ocean feels great, nice and warm. That Southern California ocean is pretty cold year-round, but especially now. Would I ever try survival in Alaska? I've done some like primitive camping in Alaska, and I've practiced some survival skills there. I haven't been there very much. It was in the summertime, so it wasn't when it was super cold. The cold weather stuff, I mean, you got to be prepared. You got to, you know, you're not going to go with a loincloth and sandals. That's just ridiculous. But I might do it. Yeah, you can have a word. People, shut up, can I have a word? You're not from India? Neither am I. There's Morocco, Lithuania. How do you learn to build all those different shelters? By just doing it, practice, get an idea, try it out. I mean, anything that you build as a shelter is better than no shelter. So it's a lot of the shelters I've built aren't necessarily that good, you know. It's just they worked. But how good would they be in a really heavy rain, or how good would they be in extreme cold temperatures? You know, so it and the current one that I have now, I mean, there's a lot that I need to do still to make it better. Insulation is a big important thing, but again, it's just time. Time is still limited for me. Iron tools, well, you need iron ore to make that, so haven't found that. How often shows in desert? How often it shows in desert? Not sure what you meant there. Is it legal to hunt animals around the hut? Yeah, it's legal. Hunting is very challenging there. It's not as easy as you might think. It's not like Texas, parts of Texas. I know I've seen videos from there, and there's a ton of wildlife out there. You know, there's some places that just have more wildlife. Deserts are a little more challenging, and especially these days, you know, it's not like it was 500 years ago. The landscape has changed drastically, and the amount of wildlife that's out there is much less than it was back when, you know, before white people invaded the continent. And so that's just a reality I have to deal with. Honestly, talking about the area around my hut, the most reliable food sources are the fish in the stream during half of the year. During the winter when it's cold, I have not been able to find them. Okay, so fish during the spring and summer, and then insects in the summer. Insects like grasshoppers. Grasshoppers are a really good source, and you can actually catch quite a bit of them. Scorpions, I eat them when I come across them because I don't want to get stung, so I find them in the hut and I'll roast them and eat them. Caterpillars, there's a species of caterpillar that the natives used to eat. And one of the things with these, a good thing about these insects is you can roast them, you can mash them up, you can store them, you can dry them and store it then. It's a good food source for storage. And then you're hunting, you know, I see rabbits, but there's not much on them. Usually I see the smaller rabbits. There are some larger ones too. There's javelina, which I've only come across one time. Deer, I seldom see deer, but there are deer out there. So again, getting these creatures is tough. Hunting them would be really challenging. If you could come across javelina, then you do have a good chance. You can, because I found that you can make little noises, mimic the sounds they make, and they actually come closer to you to inspect, and then you can actually jump up and you could probably get them close enough to you to where you can spear them. But a bow and arrow would be a good option. Traps may be the best way though. Your hut is made on iron ore. Okay. Not sure. Never saw black sand in the river. Best advice for survival: don't get yourself in a survival situation. And if against all our efforts, you are in a survival situation, you have to assess the situation and make some possibly very tough decisions. So every scenario is different. So I can only give a general response to such a general question. But you have to consider your priorities and the most important things for you at the moment. If it's a climate where it's extremely cold and the night is going to be freezing, then getting warm is going to be a major priority, and you'll want to do that before you look for water, you know. So if you're in a hot desert climate, water is going to be a big priority. Food is lower down. I think shelter and water is going to be your top priorities, and then you have to consider your health. If you have an injury or something, then you do have to tend to that as well. So it just, every scenario is different, but you got to be able to, you need to rate your priorities. You need to put your priorities in line and focus on those. Russia. Well, I'm glad you made it to my live. I do it once in a while. I just started doing them, and I like doing them. It's a good way to connect and answer some questions right off the cuff, right as you're asking them. I'm sorry I can't get all of them though. Making these videos more difficult as you grow older? No, actually, making the videos has become easier for me. Physically, I've just gotten better at it, and okay, some of the videos I've done in the past, I mean, I was like starving for several days, you know, and when you get into that condition, then it's very hard to do anything. The last thing you want to do is pick up the camera and set up for a shot. So, and that would happen at any age for me. But no, I mean, I'm getting older, but I'm taking care of my health and I feel fine. I feel good. I'm able to do what I did, 10 years ago, for the most part. I mean, I have some injuries that caused me some problems, but I work around that. A little while ago, I climbed the coconut palm. I can still climb coconut palms, no problem. So far, you know what is hard is editing, being in front of a computer. I've probably had more injuries from doing that than running around on rocky hillsides. Survival in Europe, yeah, I've never been to Europe. I might go. Yucca leaf uses. Oh, there's a bunch of uses. Depends on the species, but obviously you know the cordage. You can make soap. I seriously, I've told people this before, and I don't know if people even believe me, but the only thing I've washed my hair with for the past, it's been more than 2 years, has been yucca leaves. That's what I use, and it works so good. No chemicals. How would I make insulation for my shelter? I assume you're referring to my hut. Insulation, more bark, and the space between the roof and the top of the wall, there's a little space about 1 inch where air can pass through. And I've already done it a little bit on part of it, but all I do is put mud in there to plug up that space, and then putting more and more bark on the roof will give it more insulation. And if I wanted to even create more insulation, I could put another layer of bricks around the outside to make the wall twice as thick, and that would give me a lot more insulation. So the way my hut is built right now, it gives it's a decent amount of insulation. In the coldest nights, it's difficult still. It still gets pretty cold in there, and I have to keep the fire going. But in like the fall and the spring, just running the fire for a while at night produces enough heat to last until the morning pretty good. Put hair on top of your head and you won't have hair in your face. Well, it's gonna blow down again, that's the problem. It's because the wind's coming from back there, so it's blowing my hair this way. It's okay. How often does it snow at my hut? Well, every year's a little different, and I haven't been there every time it snows, but my estimate is it probably snows about 3 or 4 times a year. That's all. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Estoy súper bien. Estoy muy bien. Me siento muy bien. Estoy en un lugar hermoso, disfrutando del sol, del mar, de la brisa. ¿Cómo estás tú? Hey there. I'm fine. How are you? Have you ever thought about spending time in the wild forest of the Caucasus? There's a lot of places I'd like to spend time and visit. And I'm actually, part of the purpose of this new channel, second channel that I'm starting, is to make it more possible for me to travel to other countries. So right now with my channel performing as poorly as it is, and I don't understand if the YouTube algorithm or what, but only about 1% of my subscribers watch my videos. So I thank you, those of you that do tune in, I really do appreciate it. But the number has been continuously dwindling down. So I'm starting a second channel. I'm hoping I can generate some income that way and be able to travel to some other countries. Hey, Italy! Greetings to you in Italy. Do I plan to make winter clothing out of yucca fibers? I actually started, you know, it's a very slow process, and so I haven't shared it yet because I've been doing some other videos, but I have some yarn that I've made. I have a couple 100 feet of it that I've made out of yucca and juniper bark and animal fur, and so I have a lot of ideas for things to do like that. The best thing, I mean, honestly, is using animal skins. That's really the most efficient way to make clothing. Romania! Hey! Greetings to you in Romania. I hope you're well. How often is snow in the desert in the winter? It depends on the elevation. My hut is at nearly 5,000 feet elevation, so that's why it gets a little bit of snow. How would you treat an infected wound in the wild? That I've never had to deal with. Not an infection. I mean, maybe I've had a very tiny little infection where there's a little bit of white pus. Yeah, it was very tiny. It was in my finger. I mean, and all I did was I popped it, squeezed out the pus, and then I took a medicinal plant that has antimicrobial properties. A plant called Yerba Mansa. Yerba Mansa. I've shown it in one of my videos like 2 years ago. But I crushed it and chewed it up in my mouth a little bit, made a poultice, and I rubbed it on the infection. But it wasn't necessary, okay? If you keep your body healthy and strong, you're going to be pretty resistant to infection. So that's the first thing you want to do is stay healthy, stay strong. So there are medicinal plants. You can make teas with plants that have antibacterial properties, antimicrobial properties, and you can wash the wound with that or soak the wound in that. And I've done that just for general health reasons, like with creosote bush, which is called gobernadora in Spanish, gobernadora. It's a very powerful medicinal plant. It grows in the desert and it's extremely abundant out there. Answer you! Gosh! I didn't see your question, I'm sorry! I'm sorry! Que praia bonita, é muito bonita aqui. É uma praia bacana, eu adoro este lugar. Beef stew! You know, yeah, it's not as good as grasshoppers. Well, you can add some grasshoppers to your beef stew and you'll have an even more nutritious meal. Oh, wow. Привет из Мексики. Mexico. Barbacoa snake. Oh yeah, that would be good. I speak taco. Taco is a good language. Australia, I actually do want to go to Australia. There's a couple people I've been in contact with there. Did the garden die? Okay, so some of the videos that you're going to see coming up show the garden alive and producing fruit, but since those videos, the garden has died. It's too cold now. The nights are freezing at times, so too late. I'm glad you enjoy watching my videos and they're relaxing for you. I really do. How do I keep myself fit in the wild? Well, if I was in the wild all the time, full time for like a year, I probably wouldn't be very fit unless I had an abundance of food. You're only going to spend the calories, if you have to spend excess calories doing workouts and exercise, you got to have a lot of food. So, but also keep in mind that wilderness living is a lot of physical work. It's a lot of walking. It may be running, lifting rocks, moving things, climbing. You're exercising a lot of muscles. You're not sitting in front of a computer or sitting in a vehicle driving. So that keeps you fit. All right. So it's just naturally you're going to be fit. Okay. Well, one more question. Come to Iceland and do a survival challenge, you absolute legend. Iceland, boy, is that a beautiful landscape. Oh, do you live in Iceland? You know, if I were to go to Iceland, I would need someone to host me because I heard that it is incredibly expensive there. So I would be bringing a whole bunch of dry meat and maybe my acorn bars that I make, and because I understand it is so expensive to be there, so that would be my, I would have to do a fundraiser in order to get enough money to go there, I think. Greetings from Finland. Okay, so I said that was gonna be the last question I was gonna respond to. It wasn't really a question, it was a request. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to do another live maybe in a couple days, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It depends where I am, if I got a good internet connection. Obviously, I can't be far from a city to have a good internet connection. However, that place on top of the mountain by my hut is far from the city. And very lucky, fortunate that there is a internet connection there. So, yeah, thank you for being here with me on this live. I really do appreciate it. I really appreciate those of you that still follow my channel, and I really hope that my channel is both educational and entertaining. I want it to be entertaining as well, and so I hope you'll continue to watch. And when I do start a second channel, which is going to be quite a bit different, I hope you'll join me on that as well. So God bless you all. I love you all. Take care. And we'll see you at the next live. All right. Говорю по-русски. Я немного говорю по-русски.